Yep. Okay. Boruto 192. We have this one titled Past. Oh, let me right nigga. Well, hold on. Happy Sunday. See, I'm getting straight to the shits. It's probably the weather, dog. It's hot as fuck today. It's hot in this car. I didn't want to put the AC on, too much noise. Anyway, 192. And let me just start by saying that this episode to me was very unique because it almost felt as if I was watching maybe like a 20-minute movie or some shit dedicated to Kawaki. And I say movie, and even more unique than that, because to me, like the effect that this episode had on me, it just felt as if I wasn't even watching Boruto, but in a good way. It just seems as if the series was really taking its focus on establishing Kawaki as more than just some featured character. I think at the end of the day, we could probably start calling Kawaki a co-star. And I just want to say, just because, based off the way this episode was laid out, right? Because other characters have had their episodes in the past, right? Their one shot episodes. We've had a Mitsuki episode. We've had even a Shikadai episode. I think Denki got a little taste, but these are more so introducing. Like each character had its opportunity to be introduced. Whereas I feel like Kawaki's character is being established. It's being like pushed as this like a staple in this whole series itself, more than just some future antagonist. We've had in the past, like if you think of a character like Gaara, who was in Naruto, he's damn near, he's pretty much a day one fucking character. Like he's up there, bro. Like he's been in this mix since the early like single digit episodes, right? And that's a thing where you could take Naruto's relationship with Gaara, and once upon a time they meet, they're like these rivals, they're these enemies, you know, and eventually their relationship grows as the show rolls out. Whereas we're getting a hint towards this relationship between Boruto and Kawaki, where they're coming together, and we've seen in that preview that there's going to be a time where now they're at odds. So it's very interesting. And I think they're even giving Kawaki more attention than they even gave Gaara in the past, even though he's been involved in all those episodes, but it's been more so of a let me call the fucking hidden sand village and blah blah blah. Whereas Kawaki is like in the mix, like this. And I know we're like in damn near the 200th episode, but that's due to like a lot of like world building. Like, this is a vast universe, bro. We can't. This is a weekly anime, and it's a very vast universe. This can't be seasonal. This series probably couldn't even be successful if it was seasonal. It would just be a lot of like a missing pieces and shit. Like I ain't gonna sneak this no other anime, because you know we already know what dropped Saturday. We already know what came out yesterday. We ain't gonna sneak this. But let me get back to my shit. But I just feel like I said, this whole introduction to Kawaki seems very more focused than we've gotten with other side characters. Like I said, I don't think they're giving it up as a, you know, this is just a character. This character is going to have a lot of importance, and that's not just me coming from like a nigga who knows what's going to happen next, this and that. I just feel like the way this episode was even laid out, it was just, it just had that presence of, hey, pay attention to this nigga, bruh. Like, this ain't just some random motherfucker, bruh, obviously. And even to add on to that, I think out of all the anime canon, or not the anime canon, but the manga canon episodes, I feel like this one has been given the best remix, you know? And I say that because with all the canon episodes we've gotten a little bit more extra info, which I feel is cool. Like, this has been, like, I think to really appreciate this series, you kind of have to do both. You have to read it and you have to watch it, because even coming into these episodes knowing what's going to happen next, the anime still finds a way to make it feel brand new, or, you know, a little bit different. Like, I don't know, they add their little seasoning to the mix. But this one, like I said, has been so, like, it's different. It's very unique. And I don't want to just use those layered words. It's just like the way they delivered this shit has been different. It's not like, okay, here's some action panels and here's Kara interacting with each other on the side, just, you know, as some bonus points, which is cool for character development. But this more so was like, more so than a character development for Kawaki, it's more so like, to me, it felt like it was a development of his status and his importance and his role in this series itself. It was something bigger than just, here's a little bit more of Kawaki's story, which was dope too. We got to see this nigga's life was cold, bro. Fuck this nigga's life. I couldn't live like that, dog. Getting hit over the head with a champagne bottle and shit, like, or a 40 ounce, really, because them niggas was poor. So them niggas getting hit over the head with a 40 ounce. But not only was this the best remix, it just felt like it was like similar to what we got in chapter 56 of the manga. This episode was very fluid. It was very, and I don't want to say focused again, but it just seems like they had one goal in mind. That was Kawaki. That was developing his backstory, establishing him as this main character. And with that being said, they were able to just spread this episode out in a way where it wasn't so choppy. Like, we weren't hitting scene, and okay, Team 7 is battling over here at this battlefront, and now let's go check in on the Hokage, and he's talking to Shikamaru and whatever, and then, okay, now let's go see what's happening over here with the Kara organization. Like, it wasn't like 3 stories being told at once. It was a very focused dedication towards Kawaki, and that's probably what made it feel more so like a movie. And, of course, the anime had a little had a boost in production, right? And then to get into a point where you could kind of reference the manga, I guess, where they had this meeting between Kawaki's dad and Jigen. And in the manga, like, this is where we say the anime adds its little flair. Because when we see that interaction, we don't really know what the fuck happened to Kawaki. We just assume that he's been abused or whatever the fuck. He's just laying on the floor and his dad sold him off, right? So from that, just from those little conclusions, it's kind of like, okay, well, his dad didn't give a fuck about him, clearly, because he just sold him to Jigen like it was nothing. We didn't know if he was like some type of crippled. Like, we didn't know what the fuck was up with his dad. I think we just had to jump to the conclusion that he was abusive. And Kawaki, like, he's just laying on the floor. Whereas the anime, they went all out. The nigga was running errands. He was doing all this. He still had this love for his dad. Dad was locking him in the closets and shit. Like, we didn't get none of that in the manga. And then the whole reason why he was on the floor is his dad just literally cracked that nigga upside the head with a fucking bottle of whatever the fuck it was, for pleading to stay home. Like, this is my home. I don't want to leave you, dad. He's like, yo, nigga, shut up, bro. You're not mine no more. And then he cracks him over the head. And Jigen just sitting there like, hey, man, I don't give a fuck. Nigga, like, he ain't mine officially yet. I didn't give you the money yet, so you can do what you want to him up until I give you this cash. And another thing that I took note of, like, one of the craziest quotes that I heard in this episode itself was the moment where Kawaki's coming back from running errands. He's like, Dad, look, I did everything you told me to do. May I please have dinner now? Like, bruh, imagine coming home and asking your parent, may I please have dinner? Like, usually it's like your parent has to beg you to come eat. Like, bruh, like, I ain't hungry yet. And then it's like, hey, come on, man, it's dinner time. Put the fucking game down. It's dinner time, you know, turn off the TV, come over, you know. Like, it's dinner time. Like, your parents will tell you when it's dinner time. This man had to come up to his dad and be like, yo, can I please eat? And not only that, but when his dad allowed him to eat, in order for him to even get the food, he had to get a set of keys from his dad and then go to a fucking cabinet where all the fucking food is locked. So it's like, even if he wanted to eat on his own, he couldn't unless his dad gave him permission, which is crazy. That's fucking crazy, right? And then on to another thing that I was shocked to see Delta in this episode. Like, when Delta pulled up, that kind of like raised the I guess the climax bar for me, because it's like, okay, we're watching this story. It's pretty sad. It's like, goddamn, nigga, and where your chapstick at, first of all? And then Delta comes out the cut, which is crazy, because to me, when I seen Delta and I seen her interest in picking up that little cloth of blood, that's when I tied into those doctors that we seen earlier in this episode. Because when I first seen the episode, it's like, okay, it's just some random doctors. They're at this poor ass village. Not only is this village poor, but there's a lot of sickness going around. So it's like, goddamn. But to me, that whole thing spelled out, okay, Kara's behind this. Kara is trying to run some tests to see if they could find a future vessel in this area. Because why else would Delta be so interested in that cloth of blood? And I also believe that she was possibly sent out to certain villages to kind of round up some kids and shit, where she found something in that cloth of blood, some type of, I guess, good version of the DNA that they're looking for. which is probably what has allowed Jigen to even make his way out and enter this village to purchase Kawaki in the first place. Because otherwise, it's like, if I'm Jigen, I'm not spending my time in the slums looking for kids. It's like, all right, I'm gonna send either fucking one of these niggas to do it or an outer. Like, go do that shit. Like, I'm over here kicking it. Like, fuck all that. That's for you niggas. So I think something had to come up or pop up in that cloth of blood to where Jigen himself had to come out, offer some money, and then dip. I know there was other kids and shit around, and I think maybe at that point they're just crossing their fingers, because I believe that there's like two things that they're looking for. One, there has to be some type of compatible DNA that they either test or find. And then two, they have to find certain set of parents who are willing to just give up their fucking kids. So, of course, they're going to hit these poor neighborhoods. They're going to go to the fucking alcoholics and whatever the fuck. Hey, man, you don't want your fucking kid. Here's some money. But I do think that the Delta and those doctors and Kara themselves were connected. And last but not least, we think Kawaki had found him a little friend in that goldfish salesman and whatnot. And as Jigen and Kawaki are walking out, like, I'm thinking, first I'm feeling bad for this merchant, because I'm like, oh, this dude, he's trying to save Kawaki. Little does he know Jigen got them hands. Like, I was feeling bad for this dude, right? Because I'm like, dog, he's trying to be a hero. This nigga gonna fucking die. He spills everything. He's like, look, man, I had my eyes on Kawaki first, bruh. I had this nigga, like, I was running all this game, getting him to trust me and shit. I was gonna sell him off to a fucking trafficking shit. I was gonna traffic this little nigga. And that's crazy. To find out that Kawaki was almost a victim of sex trafficking that's fucked up. That's weird. Really, it's more weird than fucked up. It's like, nigga, what we gotta do? All right, I was gonna traffic this nigga. I guess they're that desperate, and wherever the fuck Kawaki's from, they're that fucking desperate. But it was like a funny type weird moment for me. But I'm gonna end that right there. And Virginia, that's it. It was a cool episode. Like I said, I felt like this was a movie for Kawaki, which is dope. I'm more excited. And then the way it came in that ending to remind you, hey, welcome back to Boruto. Like, he literally wakes up and we wake up along with him. And it's like, oh, okay, there's the Hokage. We're back in the Boruto. We're back into the mix of this episode of, not episode, but in this arc. And we're going to get back into the fucking story of Boruto and what's to pop off next. And like I said, like, that's what I literally felt like. Like, all of Kawaki's dreams, like I said, he had another fucking dream. Was this a nightmare? I think it was more like of a flashback than a nightmare this time around. But now we're going to see what it's like to be raised by the Hokage. And you know what's crazy? Because Boruto, we've seen a product of someone who was raised by Boruto, and now we're gonna see this other nigga be raised by Boruto. Hey, this is cool. I'm looking forward to this. Hey, man, next week we going up My Hero Academia, because I know they had their little episode 0. I'm gonna say that was episode 0. I think that's what they officially called it. Last week, that shit was garbage up until the end. And I'd even look, bruh, after I watched that episode, I didn't even know that there was more after the credits. So, like, I'm looking at YouTube and they're like, oh, the cliffhanger at the end. I'm like, nigga, cliffhanger? What the fuck happened? That shit was recap. I go back, and then also let me remind you, I had forgot about the Endeavor fight. I forgot about Endeavor versus that Nomu. So I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, damn, am I just hating? Like, damn, this fight I forgot about this fight. Hold on, nigga, it's gonna be a tough war. I ain't gonna front. Like, I ain't gonna say, like, well, Boruto, we them niggas. But it's gonna be a cool war. Also, I'm looking at Jujutsu Kaisen in a way because Attack on Titan, dog, bruh. I just ran through season 2. I'm in season 3 now. It's between Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen. They're like neck and neck, bro. Like, Jujutsu Kaisen, of course, has to like go through more seasons and shit. But to me, that they're gonna be neck and neck, bro. Like, as far as like what I like more between the two. But I'm gonna end that there. We talk about other shit besides Boruto at this point. I gotta go to fucking Walmart, upload this video. I need to buy some water, bro. I pissed in my fucking water. I had to use my bathroom, bro. Peace.